So yeah, I want to talk. I'm gonna have a transgender testimony. My transgender testimony. So this is what I figured out about sexuality, cause I thought about. I'm gonna just say it. It's, it's just coming to the spirit of God. Of when I was molested and almost raped. And one of the defense mechanisms I did was, to be kind of defensive and more like, at first I was like very sexless, like I covered up and everything. After a while, I was like, I showed my whole body, like I was wearing skinny jeans, like it was all about power because I felt so powerless. Because my whole life from then was me trying to please other people and me trying to be mediocre and toning my sexuality down to make other people around me more comfortable and to have them, you know, like me or want to be around me. So this is connected to why a lot of people, especially in poorer, in poorer places, where sexual abuse and sexual assault is common, that behavior is there. So there's a lot more promiscuous women. That's why there's a lot more promiscuous women in poorer areas, lower class areas. Um, but it's an effective, you know, method if you use it right. Um, Men, they go crazy over sex. And what I learned from like looking at dance hall, like on documentaries and stuff, and clubs, is that women who sexually abused in their homes and they don't have any income and stuff, they can get money from the club and they can be a little bit more masculine in the club and they can get some more money off of fashion and stuff over from the clubs. So, um, so I actually found out by looking at this that in a man's mind, anything is pretty much can be acceptable through that is used through sexuality to a man. So that is a woman is the birth of a new nation, of a new era, because if she if that's what she wants, if that's the thing she asks for in return for sex, a guy will give it to her. So that's exactly what happened in the clubs and the dance hall clubs and everything, is that the men didn't even notice that, but they literally allowed you know a whole change in power dynamics of both of them, both the woman and the man, all just because they were sexy and because they were good. And that kind of reminded me, um, kind of with the LGBT. I think the lesbians are what made, the cute, attractive lesbians is kind of. I think they did. make a contribution to why LGBT is so accepted now. So, so yeah, a woman's sexuality is definitely a woman's sexuality is definitely a tool to create a different society. So, but you have to have standards. If you have to have standards and boundaries and be very set on your boundaries, and that's it. Um, and there's a difference in being like a prostitute and just giving it up, like giving yourself up to every single person that's there. I'm gonna do another video of and usually the promiscuity thing is usually, one of the last. It's usually and should be the last resort, like when you're in poverty and you can't get out of a housing situation. That's usually when it's used. But there's another video I want to talk about people who don't have to do that and they can empower themselves in a much greater way because they have more tools, and I think it's even more empowering. It makes you more happier when you're more moderately less promiscuous. Not even promiscuous, not being promiscuous, more like just owning your sexuality. Actually, I can say that in this video. So, what is one person, I know you guys might be a little skeptical of this, but one of the people that I think are role models for this is Michelle Obama and Melania Trump. Now, I know she's kind of promiscuous, but she still makes sure she covers up in a lot of her stuff, a lot of her photos and everything when she's going out. And her body, her clothes kind of hug her body, but not too much, and it's still covering up. That is it just symbolizes that she owns her sexuality, but she's not raunchy about it. She's not disgusting about it. Or, and it's also showing skin means that you're open, your energy is open, and so you're more open to any guy that comes around. That's why, and that's why, I think some conservatives or some Bible thing, something say how women should only undress with their husbands. I mean, you don't have to be. Yeah, well, anyways, that's a that's just like a way of thinking about it, and but yeah, it's basically just reclaiming yourself and giving off the idea of, you're gonna focus more on me and my own mind and how smart I am, how strong and determined I am, with, wearing a collared shirt or something, wearing something nice. And that's what it says. It says that that you can see other things besides my body. Because, and the same thing with men. Because a lot of promiscuous men are not their best selves. So it's on both sides. Women are pressured more on that terms, but it's still the same. Let me see. But collar shirts, yeah, you have to wear them. No, you don't have to wear them. I'm saying. But anyways, yeah. It's just that, giving off that vibe that you're smart and but also that you're attractive and that you're pretty. And yeah, it just shows that you have standards, that you're both, You don't have to be, this sexless person, you know, uh, you know, genderless person or whatever, or a sexist person, who covers the whole body up and like don't show anything. Like that's not what it is. That's the opposite. But if you're in between, you're more powerful because you have both sides. And you're not just giving yourself up to any man who has a dollar, who has a few cash. You know what I mean? People will see, how brilliant you are, but then also see how divine and feminine and pretty you are. So yeah. Um so yeah, that's what a lot of the most famous women were actually a little less raunchy. Like Marilyn Monroe wasn't really that raunchy sometimes. But um okay. So I'm gonna do another video on that, on sexuality, of the transgender testimony. All I am about to end this video. All I want to say is just stay strong and stay in your boundaries and standards, because that's where your power lays into, especially as a feminine person. Especially when that energy, masculine energy, is penetrating into you. They're coming towards you, and you're the one who's saying, no, don't do this, don't do that. If you want to follow me, if you want to chase me, I'll accept this or that. And that's all I gotta say. Peace, guys.